Thank you, Mark. If everyone could rise, if they're willing and or able, for the first hymn. It is 368, Now Let Us Sing. Now, this is a challenging song. And if we're up to the challenge, great. If we're not, that's a blessing too. Okay, so if you look on the hymn and the words, the lower words, one person sings, which will be Mark. The upper line will be the other voices, and that I will be singing. So feel free to follow through on either one, and you can switch it up if you want to, okay?
Now let us sing
to the power of the faith within.
Now let us
sing to the power of the faith within.
Lift up your voice,
be not
afraid,
be not afraid.
Let us
Sing to the power of the faith within.
Sing to
the power of the hope within.
Now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the hope within.
Lift up your voice,
be
not afraid,
be not afraid.
Let us
Sing to the power of the
hope within. Now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the love within.
Now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the love within.
Lift up your voice.
Lift up your voice.
Be not afraid.
Be not afraid.
Let us sing to the power of the love within. Now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the joy within.
Now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the joy within.
Hey, pulled it off.
I think we did all right. Good morning. The welcome today is by Meg Barnhouse. The title is The Beauty of the Whole. We gather to worship, our hearts alive with hope, that here we may be truly seen, that here we will be welcomed into the garden of this community, where the simple and the elegant, the fluted and the frilled, the shy and the dramatic, complement one another and are treasured. May we know that here, each contributes in their own way to the beauty of the whole. Come, let us worship together, all genders, sexualities, politics, clappers or non-clappers, progressive or conservative. May we root ourselves in the values of this faith, compassion and courage, transcendence, justice, and transformation. I'm Jennifer, your worship associate this morning, and Mark is our musician for the day, but also Solomon will be playing a song as well. In the back, we have Nancy doing the in-house tech because this is a hybrid service, and at home, we have Molly helping the folks at home join our service. We're glad you're here. I don't know if we have anyone that wants to declare themselves as a visitor, and that's okay. But if you're a visitor or a guest today, we are willing and able to do so, we invite you to stand and tell us who you are, that we might welcome you fully. Anyone that wants to declare themselves a visitor or a guest? All right. And Molly, do we have any new folks online?
We have no visitors, all are regulars.
All right, that's wonderful. And remember, there are refreshments of coffee and in the lobby after, or the, whatever you call that area afterwards. Good morning. Now for church announcements. I direct your attention to our website. It's right here on the front of the order of service. Our weekly announcements are available there, and you can sign up to have them delivered to your email box. Are there any other church-related announcements? Please come to the microphone.
Good morning. This coming Thursday is our next Friends Night Out. We're going to Gerst House. We are doing it on Thursday this week for multiple reasons. We wanted to try something other than a weekend to see if we could get, more space and different people and easier reservations. And also because Friday is the day we serve at the shelter this month, and so we didn't want to conflict with that. So we need signups no later than Tuesday. There is a sign-up sheet on the visitors table. We're not getting a lot of names so far, but we have a lot of people that always sign up at the last minute. So please, if you're interested, sign your name, and we will see you at the Gerst House on Thursday.
Molly, do we have any announcements for the folks at home?
We do not.
Okay, let us transform our week welcoming statement by taking a few moments to greet one another. And before you stand up and do that, please wave to the folks at home. And after, please return to your seats when you hear the chime, because the centering music will play, and that's when Solomon will be playing.
When I was a boy, each week on Sunday we would go to church and pay attention to the priest, and he would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is that everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. When I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time that Moses split the sea in two and Jesus made the water wine. I remember feeling sad that miracles don't happen still, but now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to see the miracles, but finding where there is one. When holy water's rare at best, I barely wet my fingertips, but now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second rate hand me down, but now I'm walking with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Read a questioning child's face and say it's not a miracle. Will that be very hard to say? See another new morning come and say it's not a miracle. I tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood and saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush, singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second rate hand me down. I'm walking with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Everything is holy now.
Everything is holy now. And may I have a volunteer for the Chalice Lighting? I was looking for it, Ken. I actually asked him. The Chalice Lighting is by Nancy Reed McKee. Our community knows no boundaries. Our community knows no boundaries. We are not confined by the physical limits of walls, or for that matter, of what often binds us, restricts us, holds us back. We are freer than we know. when we release ourselves and each other from expectations of what is needed for true community. We are here together in this space. I see you. I hear you. I love you. And I light this chalice as a beacon for this community, holding us all together here, now. And I do have an announcement before the offertory. If you're a guest, please let the plate pass you. Your presence is a gift. May I have those two that I requested to do the offertory? The offertory is written by Heather Christensen, individually and together. Unitarian Universalism is a grand vision of a world filled with peace and justice, love and joy. The vision is emboldened in a few large congregations, numerous mid-sized congregations, and many, many small congregations like ours. No matter its size, every congregation depends on its members. Each one of you, by your commitment of time, energy, and resources, helps make the grand vision real. Individually and together, we are Unitarian Universalists, building a world filled with peace, justice, love, and joy. Thank you for your gifts. Now, normally we have the story for all ages now, but as I told you last week, we're doing the blessings of the backpack. And it's not just for children in school that are returning with their backpacks heavy with their load, but it's all of us that do the work of our lives. I brought my laptop because that's where I do most of my Unitarian Universalist work. If you've brought a backpack, please come to the front. And Mark does his work on his guitar, so he brought his guitar case. And if everyone could raise their hands. May we bless these bags, these containers, and may they be filled with the love of our community as they do their work in the world. Blessed be and amen. That's it. Now the children are staying with us. We're not singing them. Or you want to take them? Oh, I'm so sorry. Mixed communication between Ashley and I. Now, some of you know the now go in peace, go now in peace. But if you don't, it's in 622 in the gray hymnal. And we're going to sing them out to their RE. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. And may all of us be blessed in the work that we do in the world. The opening words are by Tess Bomberger. O Divine Spirit. O divine Spirit, healer of my hurts, consoler of my sorrows, vibrant light of happiness, birther of all life, and gentle way of death, hear my prayer. I raise my heart to you, as do the ancient redwoods, rooted in the ground, swaying in the wind. I praise and thank you for my life, gifts of body and essence, strength to bear life's burdens, grace to dance life's joys. I praise and thank you for my life, gifts of my heart and eyes that fill with beauty, smiling, or with pain and sadness weeping. I praise and thank you for my life, gifts of ears to hear, words of grace and wisdom, to listen and lighten the burdens of others. I praise and thank you for my life, my voice to sing out praises, to speak my truths and visions, to share myself with others. I praise and thank you for my life, gifts of all my senses, rhythms of my heartbeat, rise and fall of my breathing, the will to live with passion, serenity, and joy. Spirit, guide me to a deeper knowing of your presence in the world. Show me the deeper meanings of the patterns of my years. Help me regard myself and others with the eyes of calm compassion. Teach me to learn patience with their failings and with my own. Help me to accept the mold and fashion of my life through marching years. In the names of all who perceive, let us take a moment of silent meditation, prayer, or contemplation. Then we will sing the hymn in the gray hymnal, number 123, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of light, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the road, so be close. Wings set me free. Spirit of light, come to me, come to me.
Thank you. Raise your hand if you know what a glimmer is. A glimmer is. Has something to do with light, right? In this context, it's a little bit different. Most of us know what trauma is. And most of us know what triggers are that are associated with trauma. But in case you don't, the Cambridge Dictionary defines triggers as something, well, the third definition, because there's other definitions. The third definition says it's something that causes someone to feel upset and frightened because they are made to remember something bad that's happened in the past. An example was, a trigger is something that sets off a flashback, transporting the person back to a traumatic event. Some people describe glimmers in this context as the opposite of a trigger. The definition that I'm using is that glimmers aren't just tiny moments that bring joy or happiness. They can also spark ease, relaxation, connection, or a feeling that the world is okay, even for a fleeting moment. Now, the way our brains are wired, we're not automatically and organically going to notice glimmers, okay? Our brains are wired with that natural tendency to look for the bad. Remember, the more primitive part of our brain is there to keep us alive. So it keeps us hyper vigilant for signs of danger. We want to be aware of danger so that we can get out of the way or do our other responses of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, right? So that's the part of our brain that's constantly working without us thinking about it, all right? But the modern world doesn't recognize that primitive causes of keeping us alive. So a lot of the things in modern life keeps us constantly alert, constantly under chronic stress. So I want you to think of that glimmers in the context of our modern world and that stress that seems never ending. That chronic stress depletes us. We can't stay healthy and be constantly on. Glimmers can offer those mini breaks throughout our waking hours that gives us very temporary relief. Remember, joy, happiness, ease, relaxation, safety, connection, or just that feeling that the world is okay, just in that moment. Couldn't we all use a little bit more of that, right? Now, in a uniquely Unitarian Universalist concept, I want you to think about what our 7 principles are. And Shira's going to read them to you, but they're also found in the inner fold, the back inner fold of your order of service. And I'm having Sharon read them so that the folks at home can be refreshed what they are.
The inherent worth and dignity of every person. Justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. A free and responsible search for truth and meaning. The right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. The goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part.
Thank you. Now think of our modern world. Think of all our constant challenges and stressors. And think of our principles. Challenging, right? I've said this phrase many times when I've led services, and I'm going to repeat them now. We live in a broken world, and we are likewise broken, and also paradoxically whole. The subjects of wellness that I frequently speak about are not nice to haves. They are tools and toys to survive in this world and to continue to live our principles as we're called to. So the rest of the world has all those constant stressors, just like we do, but we're called to something more, and that's not easy. So these tools for wellness that I speak about, and glimmers that I'm going to talk about today, are necessities to keep us whole and healthy and to be able to do the work that we're called to do, to heal a broken world and to heal our broken selves. So take a few moments to get comfortable. Take a few breaths. And I'm going to use a quote from one of the articles I've been reading about this. We're not talking about great, big expanses that are moments of joy and safety or connection. These are the micro moments that begin to shape our system in very gentle ways. Can you think back to a time that your breath was caught because this overwhelming moment of awe or love or connection or spiritual peace? Can you think of a time when you felt that way? It was just that moment. It could have been spontaneous or could have been part of a planned moment, but it was just that brief moment. That's what I'm talking about when I refer to glimmers. Think of a time when you were just had that momentary feeling of peace. Think of a time when you heard a piece of music that just brought you to a different place that was beautiful, or a piece of art, just in that moment. When you're in nature, have you ever had a moment like that? Where everything just felt right. Everything felt good. Where you felt connected to something larger than yourself, just for a moment. What is joy to you? When was the last time you felt a joyful moment, just that bubbled up? The first moments I slip into a really warm bath, that feeling of warmth enveloping me. Just that first moment before I settle in, that is a glimmer for me. Or on a hot summer day, that first plunge into a really cool pool. Not so cold that it's icy and you're like, oh, but just that nice coolness, that refreshment. Or a glass of your favorite beverage, cold on a hot summer day or warm and comforting. Just that first sip or that first taste of something. Think of all of your senses. Think of all of those moments. Those are glimmers. Have you ever noticed a stranger smile, just out and about, and you felt connected with a stranger all of a sudden? And most of us have animals. How many times have they done something that's remarkably funny just at that moment? And it's a delight. Or when you're petting them or snuggling with them, that feeling of comfort and connection, that's a glimmer. For me, it can be the sound of chimes that are just that right, perfect pitch for me. Well, there's a couple pitches I really like, but I love that. And it's just like a moment that just brings me such indescribable joy. What are your glimmers? Think about them. Now, here's the task. In our busy world, in our busy life, take a moment. Pay attention. Notice. You can notice more glimmers if you just begin to pay attention. That's one of the reasons why I wanted Solomon to play Everything is Holy Now. Just as in writing or thinking of gratitude, like when you wake up in the morning, or before you go to bed at night, or if you write a journal of gratitude, as you begin that practice, you find that there's just so much to be grateful for, no matter what's going on in your life. And that feeling of abundance fills your life. When you begin to notice glimmers, everything is holy now. Even in the struggles, even when there's pain, there can be a moment that pierces through that brings you comfort, joy, happiness, remembrance of a better time, peace, or a sense of awe. Even in a horrible time like the death of someone that you love, that dying process, there can be moments that are almost blissful, and you feel connected to this loved one and to something that's outside of what you can describe. We can find those glimmer moments. You can also put it into a daily practice. You can begin to take a personal inventory. What are your biggest triggers? And what are your biggest glimmers? You can also grab some headphones, make a playlist of songs that just bring you to your feet, fill you with joy, make your body move. You can inhabit and make a habit of purposefully choosing things that bring you those emotions. For a lot of people, it's scents. A scent of a dish that a family member made for you when a child that just brings so much joy, happiness, remembrance. Why don't you make that? Or perfumes or flowers. Add those in your life. For me, it's textures. I love silken texture of my hair, the softness of a piece of my favorite clothing, textured things that are just a little bit bumpy in just the right way. Those are little moments for me. And of course, going into nature. Go for a walk, go to the beach, listen to the sounds of the waves crashing against the shore. And even in that love-hate relationship we have with social media, curate your social media for things that bring you pleasure, bring you joy, connect you to people that you are inspired by, that you love. And think about your interactions, all the people that you encounter throughout your day. Say hello. Look for a smile. Look for something that connects you to that person. And be prepared to notice in all your interactions things that bring that feeling of connectedness. Something that someone said that brings a moment of remembrance of a comfort from your childhood home. We can fill our lives with multitudes of those moments. And again, begin to appreciate that everything is holy. And as you go about, evaluate, adjust, see what changes you might want to make, what's working, what's not, and add more of what works in your life. It's not just the absence of problems, but it also is the presence of strengths. We Unitarian Universalists have work we want to do in the world. We're here because we want to do this work. We want these connections. And things like Glimmers can give us the stamina and fortitude to continue our work. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
As you were talking, or doing the service presentation, made me go back and think, and I just went through a little day-to-day repertoire of what I do in the house or out in the shop or in the yard or wherever I am. And there are so many little things that I can do or that I recognize for an instant and let them go that are deeper. Mm-hmm. And you also gave me a clue to a problem that I have that I just figured out how to resolve. So that makes me happy too, but just things are okay. No matter what the world out there thinks it's doing, things are okay.
So yesterday I got done mowing some of my lawn, and I remember in my backyard there's a little wooded area, shade, and there's where a campfire is, and we also put up a hammock. And so I was kind of tired, so I laid in the hammock. Of course, when you're laying in the hammock, you're looking straight up into the sky, and in a wooded area, you got all these branches and leaves going like this, and I'm seeing the sky behind it. So you got the green leaves and the blue sky and these white clouds just slowly going past. And it was like, yeah, I fell asleep, but it was a marvelous sleep because it reminded me of the consistency of things we probably take for granted, just natural things. The sun consistently pretty much stays the same. The earth stays the same. It rotates, goes around the sun. The moon goes around the earth consistently day after day after day. And that sustains life. Without these simple things, complex things, however you look at it, to me, it's kind of miraculous. It's kind of magic. And so I try to think of these things if I'm going through a tough time, because tough times are temporary. And everything else, at least going to last my lifetime, you know? And so I got to remember the consistent, wonderful things in my life, and that problems are just temporary. So that was, thanks, Jennifer. That was good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, because I love being in hammock, and I haven't been all summer. I just love the feeling of being in hammock, that sway The breeze, hopefully if there's a little bit of a breeze, man, that's a perfect moment.
One of the things Jennifer mentioned was pets, and I have 2 cats, which Jennifer is also very familiar with. And if one of these cats decides to jump on my lap while I'm sitting down doing something, if you know anything about cats, they pretty much do things on their schedule. And well, if he chooses that moment to jump on my lap, and I don't know if cats even mean that affectionately, it's a nice thought. Maybe it just feels comfortable to them, but it's a nice thought to think that they mean it affectionately. I think part of being a cat owner is consenting to some amount of illusion. But when that happens, insofar as it's possible at the time, I have to sit and wait for a while because I don't want to destroy the moment. If I can, I may have to get up eventually for some reason or another, but I'll sit there and wait until as long as I can.
Thanks, Jennifer. I really liked the message. And I have heard of Glimmers, and I think it's interesting that because of our negativity bias, we have all this language for negative things. So it's nice to name something positive. It reminds me of the summer at United Methodist Youth Home. I taught some of the students how to write haiku, and when you write haiku, usually you're writing about nature, and so we'd kind of walk around and write haiku, and it's a pretty simple format, so kids can do it pretty quickly. But I stumbled upon a TED Talk and somebody that wrote haiku just as a gratitude practice. So after I taught them, I've kept writing them, and just when I can in the morning, we'll try and write 1 or 2 haiku, and I've discovered that it does sort of change the way that I look at things, and sort of things that were frustrating before kind of become beautiful. So things like a groundhog in the carrot patch, all of a sudden, usually my mind's working, how am I gonna get an electric fence? What am I gonna do? It becomes kind of nice, and the kids like the groundhog, so that helps. Or like things like a 4-year-old just refusing to put on their shoes no matter what, and which can be really frustrating at certain times, at the wrong times, right? And that happens a lot. Those things become amusing and kind of wonderful too. So thank you for your message.
Molly, anyone at home have a comment, question, concern?
No. No, thank you for your message.
Okay, are you ready for our closing hymn? It's in the gray hymnal, number 131, Love Will Guide Us. Please stand if you're willing or able.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has guided us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard life.
The words are in your order of service. to extinguish the flame. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth. The closing words are by Andrew Palkula. As you prepare to leave this sacred place. As you prepare to leave this secret space, pack away a piece of this church in your heart. Wrap it carefully like a precious gem. Carry it with you through the joys and sorrows of your days. Let its gentle glow strengthen you, warm you, remind you of all that is good and true. Until we gather again here in this place of love. Go in peace, and may your presence bless the world.